Yesterday, the Tour de France was all about the race for yellow. Today, we take one step sideways on the spectrum. Hello, today's Tour de France Sesame Street is brought to you by the colour green and the numbers 4, 6 and 5.
Cavendish is there, and he's done it! Cavendish goes, the rocket has been launched, and no one can match Mark Cavendish. It's a long way to the line, make it number 4. And now Cavendish is launched, the missile fires again. Win at number 6 for Mark Cavendish. There's nobody can match the speed of this amazing kid. Mark Cavendish is to the bird for the line. The Max missile is back. Mark Cavendish is streets ahead of the Tour de France when it comes to a sprint finish.
So 15 stage wins in 3 years for the world's best sprinter Mark Cavendish, but no green jersey. No less an authority than the Tour de France director Christian Prudhomme has gone on record as saying that that's an anomaly, and this year the points competition has been redesigned to correct it. Possibly. Here's Ned.
It was a curiosity, at least a spectacle at best. Stage 1's intermediate sprint showed right from the off what the reworked points competition means to some and what it maybe doesn't mean to others.
Well, Cavendish is looking at them, he's playing with them, but watch out because Farah's gone over the top and Cavendish was not paying attention, and Tyler Farah and Andre Greipel go head to head, and Cavendish has said that's enough for me. He had that one pole, he thought nobody was going to come and challenge him.
Christian Prudhomme's tinkering has already produced acres of newsprint and gigabytes of blogging, all dedicated to this one issue. How will it all affect the green jersey points competition? Well, Sean Kelly seems like a decent man to consult.
Hopefully it will make the race more exciting, and that's the reason that ASO and the Tour de France organisation have come up with these ideas to change, to see can they get more aggressive racing. The way it is now, we could see somebody winning who's not a real sprinter, where it should be, you know, really for the pure sprinters, the great sprinters who should be contesting to win the green jersey and take it to Paris.
So here's the science bit. There will only be one intermediate sprint on stages this year, but there are more points on offer. 20 for the first through the line, and points for everyone as far down as 15th. Then at the finish line on a flat stage, big gaps in the rewards. 45 points for the winner, 35 for second, 30 for third, and again 15 riders in the points.
It does mean I will have to go for the intermediate sprint, but we don't have to chase breaks back to do it. It's about limiting your losses every intermediate sprint and then winning again at the final.
It's not the fastest sprinter that wins the green jersey often, but most of the time it's the guy that's kept his head up and kept trying every day.
You have to sprint every day now. Even if there's a breakaway up the road, you have to sprint because they give points to more riders. So as long as it's not the 30 guys up there, and this will never happen. So you just have to be more focused every day and also spend energy in the intermediate sprints.
Chi sarà in fuga è difficile, perché bisognerebbe chi cerca la maglia verde deve controllare veramente la corsa, non per arrivare in volata ma anche per fare questo traguardo. Quindi sarà un po' diverso, ecco. Vedremo come sarà questa assegnazione di questi punti in base a chi sarà in fuga, chi farà le volate, insomma.
The answer is no one really knows how it's going to shake down overall, but the joker in the pack may well prove to be Philippe Gilbert. The lumpy profile of the opening week suggests that once in green, he might be tempted to ride it all the way to Paris.
Gilbert kicks again, the champion of Belgium has got it.
At the end of the first week, if he's really in contention, he could, you know, reconsider, I think, his Tour of France, because normally maybe he will go on for a certain amount of time and then just pack his bags and go home. But in the end of the first week, if he's up there, he can be another contender.
But the focus will remain equally on Mark Cavendish and his love-hate relationship with the Jolly Green Prize, which has so far eluded him.
Like, I'll never say I don't want to win the green. I want to win the green, but my tactic of winning the green involves winning many stages, so I'll try and win many stages.
So the green jersey, the B movie to the A-listers of the GC and their little squabble for yellow, might just prove to be just as thrilling, if not more thrilling, than the main feature itself.
Well, here are the green jersey standings coming into today. Philippe Gilbert leads thanks to his Stage 1 win, ahead of Cadel Evans and Tuhusov, the race leader. In fact, the top 5 are the top 5 finishes from Stage 1. Jeremy Roy took the first 20-point super intermediate sprint of the Tour as part of the Stage 1 breakaway. He's 6th. Tyler Farrar got 13 points for winning the bunch sprint behind that break. Mark Cavendish is currently 24th with 5 points. And there's today's stage, 198 kilometres, starting from Olonne-sur-Mer and taking the race out of the Vendée and into Brittany. The intermediate sprint is pretty much slap bang in the middle of the stage at St Nazaire after 104 kilometres. And there's actually a 4th category climb in the form of the St Nazaire bridge as the race crosses the Loire into Brittany. There'll be a breakaway, no doubt, but there's no doubt either that it'll be reeled in and we'll see the first bunch sprint of this year's race. And there's the bunch start this morning. Tuhusov in yellow next to the man he took the jersey from yesterday, Philippe Gilbert, now wearing the green, of course. In fact, let's take a quick look at the general classification. It's Husov from his teammate David Miller, who's on the same time. Cadel Evans is 1 whole second back in 3rd place, and Geraint Thomas leads a group of riders who are 4 seconds off the race lead. Andy Schleck is among those, so is Bradley Wiggins. Mark Cavendish is 5 seconds down, along with Ben Swift and Philippe Gilbert. Alberto Contador is down in 75th place, a minute 42 in arrears. Now, there have been reports that Contador's team might be appealing to the commissaires that he was also held up in the second crash on Stage 1 and deserved some time back himself. Also suggestions that the appeal might perhaps be heard sometime after the race has ended. Anyway, no truth in either of them. Saxo Bank are not appealing, and Alberto Contador will not move up in the standings other than under his own steam. Now, there were 5 men in the day's break, the best placed of them being the Spaniard Jose Ivan Gutierrez of Movistar, 59th, a minute 9 seconds down. With him were another Spaniard, Ruben Perez of Euskaltel, Maxime Bouet and Michael Delage, both Frenchmen of AG Desert and Française des Jeux respectively, and a Dutchman, Nicky Terpstra, a rider for the Quick Step team. As we join commentary, there is just under 95 kilometres left to race, and the 5-man break is heading towards the day's sprint at 94 kilometres to go.
5 riders up front aren't going to get caught now. They're approaching the sprint with a lead of 6 minutes and 12 seconds. I think they'll battle it out, why not? And then we'll see how the sprinters get on when they fight out for those 10 remaining points back in the peloton. Well, watch out, because this is now an attack by Delage, who was on the man on the back, and he's thrown away Terpstra, who is last year's champion of Holland, and he's in 3rd place, but they're not going to catch him. The Frenchman has pulled a good move here. He better keep going, though, as he gets up to the line. He gets the points for the sprint, to the applause of the crowd. 2nd will be Gutierrez, 3rd is Terpstra, 4th will be Perez, and that leaves only the 5th place man to finish, Bouet.
Well, talking about track knowledge there, in fact, Michael Delage was also a very good track rider. He was the junior national pursuit champion of France and finished 2nd in the World Championships, and he knew exactly which moment there to make the move. Yeah, well, 1,500 euros, that's the currency in France, so he can make use of that. It would have been no good going to England, would it? No, certainly not. They decided to opt out of the Eurozone a long time ago, and it may well appear to be quite possibly the right decision. Well, 1,500 euros in the bank then for the winner of that sprint, Michael Delage, Française des Jeux. Wildcard team in the Tour. They aren't automatically qualified to ride the Tour de France, but they're French, and the organisers admit they want to encourage more success in French cycling. Well, these riders have gone through the sprint point to the main field now. Phil, I would expect we'll be starting to jockey for position. Just spot the green jersey popping in and out there. That, of course, is that's Philippe Gilbert. Fourth wheel there of the riders of Lampre is Alessandro Petacchi. And let's not forget, he's riding for Cannondale, and last year he was the winner of the green jersey points classification as well, right on the Champs-Élysées.
Interesting to note that quick step, and that means Tom Bonan is taking an interest here now as there's launching the sprint, but quick step are a bit sharper here. They're trying to bring Tom Bonan, and watch out because HTC on the right, the team of Mark Cavendish, are beginning to take an interest as Bernie Eisel, the man that fell off yesterday, is pulling them through at the kilometre to go.
Gregor Bole on the front, red, white and blue, leading out Alessandro Petacchi. Petacchi's the rider in the lime green bicycle, but there's a move on the left-hand side now coming from Omega Pharma Lotte. That'll be Philippe Gilbert, but behind Philippe Gilbert, Andre Greipel.
Greipel is also going to help Philippe Gilbert here because Gilbert is right up there, but the lead out is perfect at the moment as there's a rush down the outside from the helicopter. Petacchi has got the pink jersey on second place here, and the final lead out coming from Sylvain Chabanel for Petacchi. Now what's Petacchi going to do? They've got this sharp right-hand turn here. Gilbert is in second wheel. Petacchi looks him in the eye. Well, this is a cheeky move, but the yellow jersey of Hushoff here, little bit of a lean on there from the HTC rider. Hushoff looks at him, doesn't move. Hushoff is going to go for this one. He wants to convert yellow to green if he can, but Mark Cavendish is also through the middle, and as they come up to the line, he's got the enthusiasm now. That missile just hit home. There was that little clash of shoulders there because Hushoff tried to dive onto the back wheel of Gilbert, and Mark didn't move at all, so they just leaned on each other. And now, once they both opened up the sprint, well, Philippe Gilbert is a good sprinter, but hey, nobody's in the clash of Cavendish.
Well, they certainly are. Cavendish just proving a little point early on in the stage here this afternoon, and as you say, Phil, rather strange there to see the yellow jersey mixing it up in these sprints, and of course Philippe Gilbert sprinting as well. I have a feeling a long way down the road Philippe Gilbert will be looking to try and get himself a good crack at this green jersey, because he's got a very good chance of getting some more points tomorrow on his birthday at the top of the Mur de Bretagne.
He has indeed, and he might even keep that green jersey yet. Tonight we'll have to find out and see where he finishes in the big sprint of the day.
Two things about rivers, well, as it pertains to us anyway. They're always at the bottom of things and they've got to be crossed. Yeah, it's not often that a watercourse gets to influence a bike race, but today, this is the only thing that could upset the sprinters. The riders are going to come tearing down out of the surrounding countryside and fly across that bridge there, and they're going to have to brake very, very sharply because there's an immediate right-hand turn that brings them out on the banks of the Vilaine. That corner is really going to string things out, which the sprinters teams absolutely love. However, as they pull away from the water's edge, they're going to hit this small ramp. It's only 250 metres long, but unless the lead-out men time it perfectly, the peloton is going to bunch up, and that'll offer an opportunity for maybe someone to attack from the back or see one of the favourites get swamped. The chances are, though, the vast majority are going to pass that small test and make it here to the flag to contest the first mad dash of the 2011 race. So, this is it. Mark Cavendish's first chance for victory, and finally an opportunity to score some much-needed green jersey points. And I, for one, don't think it's an opportunity that he is going to let go to waste.
As we look now, there it is, 10 kilometres to go. You've got to take your hat off to Jose Ivan Gutierrez, who's the strong man here of the tandem, but Mikel Delage helps him whenever he can. And they're going into the last 10K, 12 seconds to the good.
The guys in the peloton, they can see they can almost reach out and touch them, and still they're allowing them there to stew. The American rider, Tyler Farrer, is somewhere, it's locked in the main field, while there's action at the front end of the peloton and the back.
Yes, they're trying to shake up the changes at the front, but Gutierrez just refuses to say enough is enough. Whatever happens now, he will have spent over 170 kilometres at the head of this race today. It's amazing.
I tell you one thing, Phil, I'm not sure if you noticed, he just blew a kiss to the camera there. I think he's enjoyed his day at the front end of the Tour de France, but that's less than 10 seconds. It's pretty much all but over. Let's have a quick look once again.
Yeah, well, I think it was to you, that ball. Anyway, down amongst the trees, yes, we dropped below. There's the catch. Well done to those two. That really made the peloton sort itself out. And now we are all together, apart from one or two off the back today, so the sprinters now know that they are about to have their day.
Well, all I can say now, Phil, is get your seatbelt on, sit back in the saddle and enjoy this. Keep your eyes down because we are looking for a rapid sprint.
As we're now hitting just on 70 kilometres now, about 42 miles an hour. That'll do right now. They'll go faster than that as they approach the finish. Just trying to see if I can see the face there of Pataki behind the boys in mauve. I can't quite see him there at the moment, but certainly I can see Mark Cavendish in and out the action. So they all come together here once again.
Well, the guys in the white jerseys, HTC High Road. On the front, it's Peter Velits, followed by Bernie Eisel, followed by Matty Goss of Australia, followed by Mark Renshaw of Australia, followed by Mark Cavendish. They are playing the waiting game. They're waiting for the time when they need to accelerate and stretch out the main field, but they're still looking very well organised. Just watch the last rider in the white jersey there. That's Mark Cavendish, and look at the riders behind battling to try and get into his slipstream.
White jerseys there are Team Garmin-Cervelo as well. Two sprinters on their squad. The race leader, Thor Hushovd, you can easily pick him out in yellow. But also Tyler Farrer is coming into the mix as well right now. So too is the team of Andre Greipel, who is a rival of Mark Cavendish. They were friends this time last year. Well, they weren't really. That's why he left the team. And now he's a sprinter in his own right. And it looks as though it's the Saxo Bank Sungard squad who are also driving this race to the finish to keep Contador up here and hopefully out of trouble.
Well, that's Matteo Tossato doing that lead out. In the past, he used to do that lead out for riders like Tom Bonan or even for Alessandro Pataki.
Well, we're not far away now. We are approximately 2 kilometres, maybe 1.5 from entering the department of Brittany. Bernie Eisel here just swings off as Tony Martin is. What are you doing? I'll keep going.
Well, Tony Martin is sitting on the front now for HTC High Road in the white jersey. Look at the concentration on the faces of these riders from HTC High Road. The second rider, Matthew Goss. Third rider, Mark Renshaw, the fastest lead-out man in the business, followed by Mark Cavendish. There he is in the dark glasses. The lime green bike behind him is the possession of Alessandro Pataki. He knows which wheel he wants to follow.
Well, they're all trying to get their own trains organised here. HTC are organised, but they're running out of riders, and they're still 3.5 kilometres from the finishing line. So they're going to have to do long turns at the front. I think that's why Tony Martin wondered why Bernie Eisel swung off quite so early. A sharp right-hander coming up, crucial.
This is the one at 3 kilometres to go. Everybody at the front end of the pack is round nice and safely. This is the Quai Saint-Jacques. Now they start to wind themselves up. They're going to go along the river for a while before swinging over to the left-hand side. If any man on HTC High Road can do a long turn at the front, it is Tony Martin. He's a great individual time trialist. He's getting himself into the zone right now, not thinking about his own position on a stage like this afternoon, but keeping it up close to 40 miles an hour to make sure that Mark Cavendish, sitting in 4th position there, does not get boxed in and swamped.
Martin, Goss, Renshaw, Cavendish is the order on the front. They've got 3 men to take them the last 2 and bit kilometres to the finish. Hushovd is in there too. Tyler Farrer is on Hushovd's wheel and would be a great lead out if Hushovd could give it to him. Also in there, I've noticed now coming up too, are the riders of Alessandro Pataki and also, of course, Andre Greipel, all trying to get a little bit of space.
But to be a sprinter, to win a sprint, you've got to play a waiting game. Looks as if Tony Martin now has disappeared from the front. He's lost that little bit of energy. It's up now to Matty Goss. Big acceleration coming across. It looks like it's a rider from Vacansoleil. Has seen the move coming from Lampre.
He's tried to launch an attack at the moment. This is a typical move. As Pavel Bruch has made the move here. I think, in fact, it could well be a very, very shrewd move. This, I would think, is Boris Bocic, who we've seen win already this year. This is an absolute typical move by this man if he can do it. There aren't many strong men can ride away from a peloton so close to the finish.
When you're in a great team of sprinters, you've got to stay calm. When you see the moves going like this, you've got to Just make sure you slowly continue with the plan that you've got in mind, and that's exactly what Matthew Goss is doing. Matty Goss is just sitting there. He's judging his effort on the rider from Vacansoleil, waiting to keep himself in the front end of the pack. Cavendish has let the gap go. There's a problem, I think.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because there were so many riders and they were running out of firepower there on the run into the finish. We're only just over a mile out now as they try to reorganize themselves as they race towards the finish now. I think this is Boric who's tried to go Bosic, but in any case he's going to be back in the pack, and they're getting themselves organized. Renshaw, solid as a rock, is still locked there in front of Mark Cavendish.
Well, the blue helmets on the shoulders, on the heads of the riders from Garmin Cervelo, and they're looking over the It's a bit of panic on board Team HTC High Road. Now, inside of 1 kilometre to go, Cavendish has slipped down to about 7th or 8th position. His team is a little bit in pieces as we start to try to get the organisation going again.
If Cavendish has slipped and lost the wheel, he's going to have to reposition himself in the next 900 metres, because Garmin Cervelo, who won the team time trial yesterday, are all of a sudden on the front. That looks to me as though it's Geraint Thomas who has gone round the race there for Sky in the white jersey. And is this going to be a runaway for the Welshman? Because now is the launch, and the maillot jaune is Thor Hushovd. He's got tucked in the slipstream there. Tyler Farrar and Mark Cavendish has disappeared from our screen as Thor Hushovd now launches for the finish.
Well, Hushovd is going round the corner. Tyler Farrar is in 3rd position, right onto his wheel. It's Romain Feluba. Jose Rojas is coming up too.
Rojas is going, but this is going to be Tyler Farrar big moment. First Tour de France, he's going to have to hold off Rojas. He raced for the line. It is desperately close, but Tyler Farrar gets it on the line. Garmin Cervelo cannot do a thing wrong, but the question mark is, what happened to Mark Cavendish? But the American gets his first ever stage win in a Tour de France.
Well, we'll sort out what happened to Cav in a moment, but first the winner, and touching to see Tyler Farrar forming a W as he crossed the line in tribute to his friend Wouter Waylands, who died in a crash during this year's Giro d'Italia. There's the results. Farrar from a fast-closing Romain Feluba, Jose Joaquin Rojas 3rd, and that 3rd place will be enough for him to take the green jersey. Mark Cavendish 5th, ahead of Farrar's lead-out men Thor Hushovd and Julian Dean. So, to Phil's question, what happened to Cav to take him out of contention for the win? Well, it was an incident on the final bend that started on the inside and spread outwards, forcing Cavendish here out towards the barrier, and Samuel Dumoulin, who was outside Cav, into the barrier. All in all, he did well to stay up, let alone finish 5th. Bad luck for a man in good form. Now, no real change in the overall standings tonight. That is no change in the timings. There has been some shuffling of the placings. Fabian Cancellara, for example, has slipped out of the top 8, and Andy Schleck has moved up. But that's down to order of arrival on the stage among men all on the same time. The important thing is that Thor Hushovd still leads from David Miller, Cadel Evans and Geraint Thomas. The same slight shuffling further down, but as I say, no significant change in the timings, other than poor old Vincent Gérôme, who's riding hurt and is already 19 minutes down in last place.